And we have Suresh Kalpathi, Executive Director and Chairman at Verdana Learning, who's joining us now to talk about a host of issues. But before that, I would like to just go back on our last conversation. Suresh, good to have you. Let's pick it up from where we left last time round. As we are approaching March, many of your shareholders are getting anxious to know, are you sticking to your guidance? And March or the second half of this calendar is when the numbers or earnings could materially improve. All your efforts done so far will start showing together. Are you sticking in that direction? Directionally, are we on track?
Currently, thank you for the opportunity. Currently, we are on a quiet period. So there's limited I'm able to comment, but there has been no adverse event in the company or the environment that would potentially affect the trajectory that we have already laid out for the company for FY23-24. In fact, some of the changes that we are seeing is only positive to the business that we are doing, especially the latest guidelines that have been published yesterday.
No, I don't mean to scratch that point on numbers a whole lot. Just wanted a little bit of color on the direction. And you are exactly saying that. How's the environment and the opportunity across the country right now? Are you seeing newer skills, demand for newer skills? Because the employer, complexion is also changing. Now people are going for much more skilled kind of laborers, work class, management professionals. So are you seeing a complete change in the kind of worker profile which is required in building of this new India we are talking about?
I think there has been clearly certain additions in specific emerging sectors. Recently, we had sponsored an event at IIT Varanasi, specifically focused on the electric vehicle ecosystem that's building in India. And we saw significant opportunities from an education and training perspective as to what we could do to skill people to be ready for the evolving ecosystem in electric vehicles. We are seeing something similar in the semiconductor markets. Again, we are working with another leading university in India to be able to jointly put together programs. This is more to ensure that not only are we providing skills that are required yesterday, but also preparing people and delivering skills that is going to be required for the emerging India. I think from a perspective of skills that are required in the other industries, there is an increasing requirement from the industry saying we really need people coming from our colleges who are industry ready, who are ready for the workplace. And I think that's a significant part that we have put out for Verdana itself. But I think now the industries are being very clear in terms of what they require. Sure. We are clearly being the bridge between the industry and the academia in making that bridge happen.
Sure. No, point taken. I just wanted to scratch that point further regarding the new regulations. I understand that for most of your businesses, you of course cater to, students who are 16 and above. But what about the JK Shah classes? Because there I was worried that you might have exposures to some young kids as well and might be in violation to the new guidelines. Your comment?
So JK Shah classes predominantly focuses, in the specific segment for CA Foundation, Inter and CA Finals. So our training program for CA Foundation starts with kids who are going into 11th standard so that we prepare them to write the CA Foundation exam in the 12th standard. And these are all kids who are 16 years and above. In our entire ecosystem, the only place where we work with kids who are below 16 is in our managed schools. And in the school environment, it is clearly outside the stipulation of the current guidelines, which pertain specifically to only coaching institutions. So the only place we work with kids is our managed schools, K-12 schools, and that's clearly outside the purview. JK Shah classes deals with people who are going into foundation, and these kids are in their 11th and 12th standards.
Fair enough. Sure, point taken. Just wanted to talk about the entire fee structure as well, because there seems to be a bit of a curb in terms of what you should be charging. What would be your comment to that, and where do you stand within the entire strata of the fees which are being charged in the industry right now?
I think we have held as one of the concepts and guiding principles of Verdana itself in every business that we do, that we provide a fee that we think is affordable to the real India. So we clearly see this as a very welcome guideline that is coming. I think there were excesses in this industry in not everywhere, but in specific pockets. And hopefully, this regulation will ensure that more of the education coming from quality players becomes available, accessible, and affordable, what we call as a real Bharat. The second one, which I wanted to highlight, I think, which is again an important one that came with the guidelines, is to ensure that people do not do advertising in terms of testimonials, in terms of rankers, in terms of specific testimonials coming from students. Um, I think, again, one of our guiding principles has always been to keep away from high decibel advertising campaigns for any of our programs. I think we have always mentioned that we are building Veranda through a strategy of acquisitions of companies that have profitability and pedigree. And essentially, it is the pedigree, and all our businesses are between 10 and 40 years and more old. They have delivered services. So, a majority of our revenues comes from referrals and the word of mouth, which is very, very strong. So, we have very little dependency on any of this high decibel advertising, which anyway Veranda has always kept away from. And I think this guideline makes it more a practice that the entire industry will now have to adopt. And I think it is very welcome.
Sure. Suresh, take your point. Thanks so much for making time and speaking with us. So that's a